All you
Yeah.
got. That's intense this morning yet. It's okay.
Wow, the year's starting to be half over.
Yeah. 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 That was impressive.
Okay.
Soil and water. Soil and water.
No.
Whose wedding, whose baby shower was it?
Was one of Danielle's good friend's sister.
Good morning and welcome to the Todd County Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Today is June 4th. The time is 9 o'clock. All commissioners are present along with the auditor treasurer and county coordinator. We will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. I have two amendments to the agenda today. Under consent item 4.9, if you will add, we will be adding a higher payroll and benefits specialist. And then under 5.5, there is the declaration of state of emergency.
Okay. Are there any other amendments? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
A motion by Byers. Is there a second? Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Consent items, Denise?
Today we have meeting minute approval for May 21st, 2024. Approve legal assistant hire Megan L. Williams, start date to be determined. Hire eligibility worker Becky Templin, start date to be determined. Hire eligibility worker Jennifer Carner, start date to be determined. Hire eligibility worker Lorena Luna, start date to be determined. Hire eligibility worker Tamara Johnson, start date to be determined. Hire paraprofessional case aide Taylor Lemke, start date to be determined. And we have a gambling permit for the Rotary Club of Sauk Center with an event date of August 23rd, 2024. And then our added item for payroll benefits specialist in our HR department.
Okay. Hearing the consent items, is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
First item I have today under the auditor treasurer category would be auditor warrants. Background is sent for review. The recommendation is to approve the May 2024 auditor warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $11,118,463.17. And yes, this would be the settlement from taxes.
Yes. Is there a motion for approval for the auditor warrants?
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Oh, roll call.
Oh, excuse me. Roll call.
Denny,
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item I have then is the commissioner warrants. Background was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $46,736.81.
Okay, do I have a motion for the approval of the commissioner warrants?
So move.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second. Almost got you, Bob.
I think you got me.
Second by Bob. By Commissioner Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all, roll call.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Denny,
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
You guys are confusing me here. Next item is the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants, background sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $67,909.71.
Okay, is there a motion for approval for the Health and Human Service warrants?
So moved.
Motion by Byers, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call?
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
The next item I have then is the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants. Background is sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with a ACH and a regular manual payment totaling in the amount of $32,677.14.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion for approval of the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Byers, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call?
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
And the last item I have then is the State of the Union, or excuse me, State of the Union, Declaration of State of Emergency. Let's go with that. Background: on June 2nd and 3rd, 2024, severe storms passed through Todd County, causing wide area flooding to the city of Eagle Bend, city of Clarissa, and a number of townships and county roads. Current estimate cost of damages is $60,000. And I believe there probably is a resolution. Resolution declaring a state of emergency. Whereas the severe weather has impacted the population of Todd County and its cities, and whereas the severe weather event has caused a significant amount of public property damage, and whereas the Todd County Department of Emergency Management requests the Todd County Board of Commissioners to declare Todd County in a state of emergency for June 2nd and 3rd, the event of 2024. Now therefore be resolved that the Todd County Board of Commissioners declares Todd County in a state of emergency for conditions resulting from the severe storm event that was held on June 2nd and 3rd of 2024.
Okay, motion declaring a state of emergency.
So moved.
Motion by Nazca, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion?
What's the status of the actual city?
Mike is out there right now, is my understanding. They're still bagging sand today and helping people with their basements.
River overflowed or?
It must have been, were you up there, Lauren? It must have been the, yes.
The county
Yeah.
park,
I'm just getting it
Yeah.
secondhand
city
from,
park in Clarissa
family.
is underwater.
Eagle
My
Bend
wife
is-
sent me a video of it yesterday.
And Sheriff can come on up if you have other comments,
Yeah.
but as far as the storm event, we went out Sunday night at 10. Our crew was out till basically all day. We closed all the roads that we needed to. This morning, we've been repairing those that are really bad. There's some areas that we're just kind of doing a temporary repair, as we're a little nervous about the upcoming storm that we're on the radar. If we do additional amount, you know, that could just be all for naught if there's additional storms coming. But from what I've been told, a lot of the water is starting to recede a little bit, not at a great amount, but it is starting to go down a little bit, at least in the culverts and stuff on the county road. So if they're going down the county road system, I'm assuming they're going down in Eagle Bend. I guess, Sheriff, have you heard of anything different?
No, that's about it. The reason for the emergency declaration would be to get some funding if needed, so. Yeah, it sounds like everything's receding now. We're hoping that there's a 40% chance of some significant storm tonight, so we're hoping if that tapers off, we'll be fine, but if not, we'll see what it leads to, and then we'll be out again.
About how much rain did they get? Inches?
5.5 inches in
Okay.
northern part of Clarissa, from what I understand, and then it varied from there, widely varied, to like an inch to the southern part of the county. So that 5.5 inch band that hit Clarissa, Eagle Bend area is what's affecting all our services going to there now.
Yep.
So in engineering terms, if you have a 5.5 inch rain event in general, they would claim that in this area to be what they'd call a 100-year storm event, or about a 1% chance of a storm. When we design systems, we design for typically a 100-year storm event, so a lot of our culverts are in good condition, but that doesn't mean all of them are there that way. But it's a 100-year storm event. It was a big deal. So, but overall, our system fared pretty well. But if you get a 100-year storm event, you're going to have some flooding.
The actual city is, the city of Eagle Bend, does it have flooding through the city at all, or there, does anybody know?
Yeah, in the lower parts of the city, the northern parts are pretty good, because they're higher ground, but
So
on the south
southern,
end of the city, everything's underwater.
A lot are really focused on the Eagle Creek area as it comes on County Road 3 up near Shirley's gas station, and then through that area. That's where a lot of the focused parts of Eagle Bend, would you say, are.
okay.
We have the
Down,
flooding.
yeah. We'll be leaving after board today. We'll be going back up and just assessing where our needs are. As long as everything recedes and we don't have a major event this afternoon, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Byers, if you are on Facebook, you could go to the Independent News Herald. They streamed live videos yesterday, and it's quite devastating. The water, like the Shirley's gas station parking lot was completely, you didn't even see where the parking lot was. It was
That's
just
correct.
water.
And we're fortunate we have some pretty dedicated firefighters and volunteers that spring to action pretty quick. And we've had a number of, 2 different fire departments out there throwing sandbags and just helping out. So good group of people out there, good situation.
All right, thanks for the update.
Okay.
Thanks for the update.
Thank you.
With that, is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thanks, Mike.
Lauren?
All right, onto the item for Public Works. The one item this morning for Public Works is a request for the approval of MnDOT Agreement Number 1054422. The background is as follows. This is requesting approval of this agreement, which is the State of Minnesota Agreement for the bridge bond funds for the replacement of the bridge on County Road 14 over the Long Prairie River, just east of the city of Barville, known as SAP 07614-022. Our options are to approve the attached resolution and agreement or do not. And our recommendation is to approve the attached resolution, which would have MnDOT act as our fiscal agent. Therefore, we could receive the $764,443.63 of bridge bond funds to help fund said project.
Okay, I would ask for a motion for approval for Bridge 14. It'd be the local bridge replacement grant agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Noska, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion. I've got a piece of discussion on Exhibit B, page 4. You got different dates on there, Lauren? Could you explain that to us? You guys believe a start date.
I don't know if it's,
One more. Yep, right here.
Yep.
So the award date, that's when they're starting.
The award date was obviously when we awarded as you as the board
Right.
awarded. The construction start date is we have that in the contract to start. That's when the contractor's allowed to start. And we did it at that point in time of the year because our highway work is in the summer and we scheduled this for later in the year. And then we want them substantially complete by November 4th, basically freeze up of this year.
Okay,
Final contract completion is always about 4 years after, and that was set forth by the state to make sure all our paperwork and money transfers are all complete. And they always give themselves adequate time to ensure that that's complete.
okay, and that's why I was, to make sure that was the money part of it, not the.
It's the money part, and that date
actual
specifically, the 2028, was
Yes.
given by the state of Minnesota.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, on Exhibit C,
yeah.
it's got me down as chair.
It's got,
Oh,
oh,
where is this? Oh, see.
you're not the chair.
you want to be the chair?
That'd be an error.
No.
I will make that correction. I'm glad you caught that.
Thank you.
And then bring it back to our auditor treasurer for signature. So glad you caught that.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? and carries. Thank
All
you,
right,
Art.
thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning,
Morning.
Mike.
One board action today is, through our last board meeting, we had the new investigator was put into place. He'll take his spot on the 16th. But he needs equipment, and through the work session, when we initially talked about this, we were trying to figure out which kind of vehicle we wanted. And through work session, we discussed that we wanted to try using a pickup for resale value might be higher, and we might be adding some of those to our fleet. So the request of the sheriff's office today is to purchase a 2024 Chevy Silverado that best fits our needs. Price for that, the pickup package is $51,855.20 with the state bid. With all the vehicle equipment, price would include $8,584.86 for a grand total of $60,440.06. The options are to approve that purchase or not to approve that purchase, and recommendation is to approve the purchase of the 2024 Chevy Silverado from North Country GM, where we get all our vehicles from, all our squad vehicles, and equipment from Emergency Automotive Technologies for a total price of $60,440.06.
Okay. Mike, I have a question before
Yes.
I ask for a motion. Do we still have an ARPA vehicle? What
We
was
do.
that?
Yep, we
Was that-
still, yes, we still have that, Commissioner. That does have a cage. We've been using that for transports, for long-distance transports. But the use, it doesn't fit the use for a investigator.
Is that a van?
It is a cargo van, yes. It's
Okay.
I think it probably seats a dozen. So
Okay.
it's a good piece of equipment when we need it. It's good for our long-distance transports. One of the reasons we're going with the pickup package is oftentimes we'll go to a burglary or a scene where there's a lot of equipment, and we'll use that to pull trailers and load pickup with whatever we have for evidence. And we'll probably be looking at that, some pickups for next year's squads. I know there's some deputies that would like to try them, and I think the resale value is going to be better. So we'll probably have a few of those in our fleet.
Okay. I would ask for a motion for the purchase of a 2024 Chevy Silverado.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, a motion by Noska. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
Very much.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
So I have two board actions for you. One is for the demolition landfill. The permit for that facility expires on May 21st, 2025. However, the way the state works, they require us to submit a permit reissuance 6 months before that. So that's December 21st of this year. So we've talked at the committee level about this and got a proposal from Widseth to do that work for $29,600. We did actually start talking about this a few months ago because the original permit reissuance is just kind of like you kind of take the old stuff and you just say, we're gonna keep doing that. But because there's rules that we're told there'll be new rules next year on demolition landfills, part of the work we're doing is to prepare for that so that we're prepared for if those rules require liner and daily cover and financial assurance, we can exit landfilling in a smooth transition. But none of what we're doing is making that decision at this time. So that cost, I guess the department's recommendation is that the Board of Commissioners would approve staff signing this proposal.
Okay, I would ask for a motion for Winseth for the landfill.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you, Chair. The second item is for the CAP grant project where we're building a new transfer station. And for this, basically this is relating to materials testing. So in the bidding documents and the budget we prepared, the contractor provided a price, it was actually called an allowance, to do the material testing outside of the building envelope. So like the paving and the driveways and the dirt. But in the specifications, it did not specifically tell them to do the testing for inside the building envelope, and that's called special structural testing. It's actually required by the International Building Code, which is part of the Minnesota statute. So as we've discussed this with Stantec, Stantec got a quote from Braun Intertech, who's been doing our geotechnical work, and that cost for the project is $72,185. That cost is not in our budget, so that would come out of our contingency. As we talked about this, Stantec said they would be willing to actually contract for the work, and they would put zero markup on it. So it gives them, in a way, they're, normally they provide a 5% markup, and they don't really want to be a middleman, but I think they're just, because this wasn't, we wanted to have these numbers when we budgeted, they're offering that as a convenience for the county. So this is a necessary part of the work, and for that reason, the staff and the department recommend that the board authorize signature for this amendment to Stantec's contract.
Okay, I would ask for a motion for Amendment 3 with Stantec for special structural testing.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
if I may? So this one, was it just an oversight that it didn't get put in there? Is that kind of what
Yes,
it was? Okay.
that's correct.
All right. I just curious what the, because just in the planning process, it just got left behind kind of thing?
Yep, and this is, it should be in the spec. I did go look in the spec because, a typical thing, I guess, that when you get into a project, a contractor will try to make more change orders to pay for more things.
Oh,
But
so who made the spec list then? Is that Witsa who did that?
Stantec,
Or Stantec, sorry, Stantec?
yep.
Well, yeah, they shouldn't charge us extra for it. They missed it.
Well,
you
have a point. The contractors allow them to have a markup because they take the liability on when they do that, and it covers us. Because I did look at Braun's standard language. I've talked with them before about this. Like their language says their limited liability is equal to no greater than the value of their work. So they're gonna insure you for $72,000. So if their guy comes on site and he uses a nuclear density gauge that has radioactive material in it, and all of a sudden you can't have children, you can only sue them for $72,000. So now with Stantec providing that protection, that umbrella protection over us, they get that benefit. It is an unfortunate situation, but on a $10 million project, I would say overall Stantec has done a very good job.
Right, 72,000. It's not a huge number, and it needs to be done. It's just
Yeah.
something that would have been nice to have in the
That's
original
right.
plan.
It would, and I agree with you, Commissioner. The other thing that we often ask, and we talked about this with Stantec, is that a cost that would have been there if they had done it right? So had they done it right, we would have had to pay the $72,000.
Right. Yep,
Just
exactly.
been the convenience of being
Just to
in.
know,
That's
so you get a
right.
better number, and now because we're
Yep.
burning up some contingency now, well, we'll
Yep.
see what the foreseeable
Yep,
future comes here.
yep. I would agree with you.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Because this project is ongoing and the board meets twice a month, there was something that came up earlier this week that the engineer Stantec and our staff have asked me to bring to you. It's not on your agenda, but it is time sensitive, wondering if you would afford me one more topic now.
I think it had to been brought up at the beginning of the meeting in the amendments.
To amend the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Minnesota Power is gonna do work potentially on Thursday that I guess we'll have to ask them to do it without board discussion then.
Well, we can have discussion, we just can't.
Can't act on it.
We
Okay.
can't, I can't ask for a
I
motion.
mean, you can explain what's going
You
on,
can,
but
I think you
we can't
did in the email.
He did on an email, yeah.
He did. Yeah,
Okay, if
And
you'd
we
allow me just to share it with you.
absolutely, you can share it.
So I have heard that there's been discussions with Minnesota Power, they're your power supply company. And I didn't know the details of it, but they've been working with them for several weeks. And we've revised the alignment of the water main to make it convenient for them how they reset power. Because if you drive into the property, there's overhead power poles that go along that driveway. And that driveway is basically overlapping the project. So what they've said is they sent us a bill for $42,000 to pull those poles out and reset them when the project's done. And so we'll come back to you at a different session for that, but high tech, for the purpose of keeping the project going, because you don't want that work to delay, they've already signed off to pay for that, even though it's not in their contract. Similar to the materials testing, I wish we would have known that earlier.
Yeah,
But, you know, in the sake of projects, this is pretty typical for projects that things come up. This is nobody's error. That work has to be done. But we'll come back to you at a different session then to authorize that payment or reimbursement to High Tech for that work.
okay.
So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yep, thank you, Chris. Thank you for the update.
didn't need the pictures?
Chris, did you want to share the photos from the site at all? We have 4 photos with the commissioners.
Absolutely, yeah,
If you want to
yeah,
walk us through those.
yeah.
So just, if we could just stay on this one to begin with. I believe this is the access road that goes up to the west end of the property. So this is done. You can see they've got riprap on the ditches. If I could just approach the screen. So behind this is where metal piles and brush, leaves and compost was stored. And I don't know if you remember, but this road used to go straight up. It was a 10% road. We had people that would slide down backwards before. That's not a good thing. So as part of the project, they've rebuilt this, so this is safe for access for our customers.
Nice.
It's another shot of that road. Another shot of it. No, this one is just facing, what direction is that? East. So it's coming down the road. And you see these big banks, and that's because they've cut into that to make that a more manageable route, so. And that's just the yard.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Chris.
thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, my first item this morning is amendments to section 302, 604, and 911 of the Planning and Zoning Ordinance. The amendment to these sections, 302, 604, and 911 of the Planning and Zoning Ordinance have been reviewed by the Planning Commission during the January, February, March, and April Planning Commission public hearings. And the amendments were reviewed during the May 7th work session, and then again, that extra meeting. And the final draft is attached for adoption. Options are to adopt the amendments to section 302, 604, and 911 as presented, do not adopt or amend them back to the Planning Commission. Recommendation is to adopt the recommendations of the Planning Commission and adopt the changes to section 302, 604, and 911 as presented.
Okay, I would ask for a motion for adoption of section 3.02, 6.04, and 9.11.
So moved.
Motion, was it Denny?
Yep.
A second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion.
Yes, Madam Chair, is everybody gonna be protected?
Yeah, we'll enforce it exactly as the language states there. There was no major changes from what was previously there. We're working on some educational materials for those that want to build in rural areas to kind of make sure that they understand what they may encounter in those areas. We actually have those made already. We just have to finish them and get them printed and stuff. Little trifold thing that we can give people when they have permits. I mean, the best thing that we can do is just try to educate people.
Did it all come back from the state then?
Oh,
I
yes,
know-
yeah,
I
yep.
think
Actually,
last-
after that work session, I emailed Courtney with MPCA and she immediately got back to me and said, I'm sorry, I didn't make it very clear. So yes, we got a response right away from Department of Ag and then after that work session from MPCA. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
All right, next is the Sunset Point Final Plat. An application for creation of a single lot plat on parcel 1400017202, Candona Township was submitted on March 11th. Preliminary plat was approved on May 7th, by the Board of Commissioners with just one condition, that the applicant abide by all other applicable federal, state, and local standards. Planning and zoning has completed the review of the Sunset Point plat and determined that it's ready for final platting. Options are to approve the final plat as presented or deny the final plat. Recommendation is approval of the final plat as presented to formally establish Sunset Point.
Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion for Sunset Point final plat.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Noska, is there a second?
Second.
You guys are close.
Who's got the clock on that one?
Bob, you have
Second,
it.
Give it to the
second to, by
gentleman, the gentleman to my right.
Newman. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right. Couple things to present today. First being the elimination of the WIC assistant, WIC nutritionist position. Some background, the position of assistant WIC nutritionist is no longer needed and will be replaced with the WIC coordinator position. Your options are to eliminate the WIC nutritionist position or to not eliminate. It's our recommendation that we eliminate the assistant WIC nutritionist position.
I will ask for a motion to eliminate the assistant WIC nutritionist position.
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? You want to go into a little bit detail? Because we're going to be,
Sure. As you are aware, Mary Ray Haugen had this position for 36 years, so we really appreciate her service.
Who retired on May 31st.
Yep, last Friday. So Mary Ray was grandfathered in with a dietitian tech degree, but since then, there's a requirement to have an RD, registered dietitian, licensed dietitian, or nurse in that role. So we aren't able to hire to fill this anymore at what the education requirements were in the assistant WIC nutritionist position.
okay. With that, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Which brings us to this board action form. A request to hire the WIC coordinator. Some background at the commissioner's work session on May 21st. There was some discussion held around the need to hire a WIC coordinator. The position replaces the current assistant WIC nutritionist position. The Minnesota Department of Health requires the position to hold specific education requirements, and we have that attached, but it does require a 4-year degree in that position. So it is, your options are to authorize hiring the WIC coordinator or to not authorize. It's our recommendation you authorize the hiring of a WIC coordinator. And that position can be filled by a 4-year, go ahead.
The hope is a registered dietitian, then a licensed dietitian, then a 4-year registered nurse. So we'll see which candidates we get.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to hire a WIC coordinator.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
You.
Is it really supposed to storm tonight?
Okay, administration?
Yes, I am working on the second grant for Sourcewell. It's a match grant up to $10,000. This, again, is a grant that has a deadline that's fast approaching, the middle of June, so it needed to come today in front of the board for a resolution. The Sourcewell Community Match Grant application is nearing completion, and it will be ready to be submitted by the deadline of June 15th. The grant requires the County Board of Commissioners to pass a resolution to authorize the submission and authorize the Auditor Treasurer's Office to act as fiscal agent. And these would be $10,000 of funds for something that the county would already be purchasing. Some of the ideas that will be included or will be included is our NeoGov software posting for jobs and the testing software for posting. And also Denise is getting a possible, I'm blanking out, bid or quote for cost of possible magnetic signs for our county cars that identify them as Todd County. It just has to equal or bundle up to $10,000, and then Sourcewell would match that once you submit the invoices that you've paid that cost already. So,
And we've had some discussion with some people from the city of Staples that wants to put in a court,
pickleball.
Excuse me, yeah, sorry.
Yes,
Pickleball, yep.
exactly right. And their discussion or major concern is that we were putting in this grant after they told us that we could, which is not
No,
correct.
the reason that we're applying for the grant now is because approximately, I believe it was the beginning of May, we were approached by two representatives from Sourcewell, myself and Adam from Planning and Zoning, and they came forward and said, we noticed you haven't applied for these grants, and we think you should do that since there's a deadline next month, and you're just leaving these funds kind of on the table, especially the match grant. So at that point, that following week, I thought we need to move forward with this. So I worked first on the Community Impact Grant, which had a deadline of May 30th, and then started to gather and fill out the application for this grant. And then last week, I got a call from a gentleman from Staples asking if we were still going to apply for this second grant. And I did give him a call and told him, yes, we were already just about complete with it. So,
Okay. Okay, thank you.
yes. So looking for a motion to pass a resolution to submit the grant.
Okay, we're looking for a motion to submit the Sourcewell grant.
So moved.
Motion by Nazca. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers.
Take their money.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carries. And now we'll go into closed session. The time is 9:38. The commissioners will hold a closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.03 to consider strategies for labor negotiations. Okay, we'll reopen our commissioner meeting. The time is 10:49, and we had discussion on labor negotiations. With that, we'll go into the standing reports. County Auditor Treasurer.
I just know that closing started today for public offices that were open. We had settlement last month. Taxes taken over 19.5 million. So settling out that money.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are looking forward to our new legal assistant starting sometime soon. We still have a vacancy in the Assistant County Attorney position, but we hope to interview for that soon as well. Otherwise, we're doing the best we can to serve the various county departments. Thank you.
Thank you. County Coordinator?
I've been finishing up the Sourcewell grant, the second one. And then very good news is that we're going to be getting our payroll benefits position filled. So that's going to be very, very helpful for our office. We've had our employees really, putting in a lot of time to get payroll finished. So this will be great.
Okay. County Commissioners reports. Tim?
Yeah, nothing to report right now, just kind of uneventful for me the last 10 days for county stuff, but coming up here, June's gonna be stacked full of meetings and preparing for the fair and everything coming up, so that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Newman?
Yes, Madam Chair, on 21st, I attended Sauk River Watershed meeting. On 28th, I had personnel, and 29th, we started finance, so we will be continuing to work on that for the next couple of months, so looking forward to that. Otherwise, that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Myers?
The only thing I'd report is I sat in a Zoom meeting at TRICAP. I know Lou was in attendance, but so they're going through their process of, they got some work to do, I guess what I'm trying to say, that they're working on some of their cases that have been reported as maltreatment, and hopefully that'll get taken care of.
Commissioner Noska?
Yeah, and actually last week, or since the last commissioner meeting, I didn't have much other than that one. And I will second with Bob on that they have some work to do. And I think it's mainly about how to discipline, I think, and how to make some of the lower level positions a little more accountable. But that's all I really have, other than I did get to go out do some fishing lately, so that was nice to get away.
Okay, I had a Region 5 meeting, and I was gonna bring this along. They're really promoting the mobile meat processing, and they're going through the college up at Staples. And so that's a program that they're really promoting right now. Also had personnel on the 28th, had finance on the 29th, had a personnel on the 30th. We had regional EMS in St. Cloud on Friday. And major concerns there, again, is the dollar, is how to keep them going and continuing with our regional EMS. The other thing, and Randy's handing me, is come Friday, we got our District 4 meeting in Fergus Falls, and would really like to see everybody attend that if we could. They're very, very good meetings, kind of seeing what the other counties are doing within our district and so forth. So with that, is there?
Madam Chair, if I may
Yes.
interrupt, I just wanted to say some more things that I forgot. Since our next meeting is June 18th, I wanted to remind everybody that June 18th is also Board of Equalization meeting that night, because we wouldn't be able to say it prior to that meeting. So that's on the docket, and then.
The other thing is Representative Mike Weiner has his
That's what I was gonna
program
bring up.
also that night for small business, SBDC partnership with Todd County, and that's from 5 to 7:30 on the 18th also.
Right.
But then everybody gets a day off the next day, right?
Yes, June 19th.
So if there's anything else to be brought in front of the
I'll
board?
say one more comment. I forgot to thank our sheriff's department and our public works for responding to all the massive water issues we're having lately, and then all their public works were out cutting trees up and doing roadblocks, and just appreciate their timeliness on that, so thank you to those two departments.
Absolutely. I think that comes from all the commissioners as well. If not, we will recess until June 18th. And then we'll go into work session. You guys need a 5 minute, or are we okay to go in?
Let's go.
Let's go?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Do it.
We'll go ahead and go right into work session.
I'm not even, I'm not even
yes.
there.
Jackie's team.
I have to get there, so you'll have to give me a minute, because they don't have it open.
Community health.
Couple things to bring forward this morning for work session. First being, in Catherine's unit, the paraprofessional case aid discussion. We started with personnel as we work our way through this process, and was okay to bring it here, but you know, we are looking to fill a position, and then this is where I'm gonna let Catherine kind of take it over, and we wanna be sure as we've got the funding to fill this position through MDH, that we want the position to be able to be versatile, and which is why, and flexible, which is why we are coming forward with a case aid position versus a public health educator
Community
position.
Mhm.
We feel that we can fill this probably, it's probably more opportunity to fill this with a case aid than it would be with a 4-year degree with a public health educator as well.
So I've spent some time ever since David Detterman was promoted to registered sanitarian. His position as health ed was open. So I've taken some time to really assess the needs in our unit. One of the challenges we have now, and you're well aware of this, we have 3 public health nurses who are dealing with a lot of new immigrants, new moms, new Latinas that are coming into our area and have a lot of needs. Often it doesn't take a nurse to help them find a bed or to give food support. What we need is more staff who are able to provide that for our nurses, so our nurses can work up to their licensure. Often now the nurses are helping their clients with applications, food supports, transportation, housing, those types of things. So the idea behind this position, and this is kind of, it's not replacing my health ed. I don't think we need a health ed. I think we need a case aid. And being a grade 5 and being, like Jackie said, the education requirements are lower, I think this would fit the need. I know you've had a lot of case aids coming forward. So really the goal of a case aid is to support those clients, right? So that the social worker or nurse can be more high level working on their goals. So this position would be new to my unit, but it would very much support our nurses. It'd support our WIC program, it'd do outreach, and then it'd work directly with clients on filling out applications, working on housing, working on transportation, working on food supports, all those things I discussed. And the goal is to get someone bilingual. So I will wait until we get the right candidate. I know a couple people in the community who I think would be excellent, but we will definitely wait and hire someone bilingual. About 40% of our clients now in family home visiting and WIC are Spanish speaking. So we really see a need for that. This person will not be an interpreter. They will be a Spanish speaker who speaks Spanish to our clients.
So there will be a cost savings to going from a health educator position to a case aid position. How many grades?
Health ed was a 9 and this is a 5.
And also with interpreting. So they're gonna help walk through those visits as well.
They won't be interpreting.
Not interpreting.
They will be speaking Spanish,
Bilingual.
just they will be bilingual. Yep, Sergio is still,
Correcting.
yes, and I think that's important. Sergio is still our interpreter and he translates documents all across the county departments. But that is his skill and he is trained to do that and he's on the state roster, which is different than our other staff who are bilingual, who speak Spanish to Spanish speakers. So I think it's important to know there's a difference between those two.
And we're seeing we've been seeing an increased need across our department for quite some time. So we're just trying to be able to be utilizing our staff when it's appropriate, using interpreters when we need interpreters, but having bilingual individuals when we can have the bilingual. So would have somewhat of a cost savings, so we're not having to contract that out and calling in interpreters when needed too.
Correct.
So
right now
you're
we
gonna be
contract a
probably
lot.
seeing more requests with that in mind as well. So as we move forward, because our needs are changing and we try to keep up with our needs. So.
In bringing this forward, you will bring, where you're going to close out one position and then add the new position to that, right?
Correct.
And do you plan on bringing that to the next board meeting, or?
I won't be here that week, but if Jackie's okay with that, then yes.
Okay, any other questions, or?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Next, we have, in Stephen's unit, an Annex 2 redesign. We have some dollars that we received from COVID that was dedicated just for Stephen's unit in that eligibility world. Because we were barking enough to the state that are, again, there were a lot of
Thank you.
pre-COVID, COVID, post-COVID changes, and with that came costs to the county. And Stephen, this is something that I kind of gave to Stephen, and we have these dollars that are out there, and we have utilized some of it. One of it was Lisa Chapin coming in and helping his unit to get through this surge of changes with protocol and policy and staff. Some of it we have used for technology, a small amount of it, and then we have some remaining dollars that we'd like to utilize to optimize our space and add additional cubicles, up to 4, right?
Yeah, 4 additional.
So,
Yep,
I'll
we
let you
have
take it
8
over.
right now. Yeah, just a little bit more
We
background.
did start with facilities, so we did take this to facilities as well.
The other, we've used the funding for, like Jackie said, with the temp position with Lisa Chapin, which has been a lifesaver. We've also done a lot with technology. We've ordered third monitors for the workers that were requesting those, because they are required most times to have up to upwards of 10 to 12 different systems up at the same time. So having 3 monitors really was a benefit to them. And then we've had other miscellaneous things, like with the new requirement for healthcare to do phone applications or renewals. We haven't had very many of them, but they're extremely time consuming. They can take upwards of 3 hours to do it. So very few people want to do it, but we've had a couple. So that's some of where the funding has gone so far. So this would be, we feel that right now we have 8 cubicles. They're a little bit of a hodgepodge with the panel systems. It's kind of been just put together. So we're trying to get something a little bit more permanent.
And, some of those desks were set up for the paper world. So as we move into this electronic world, we don't need such a large, wide desk. So just trying to optimize the space that we have with the setup that we currently have from the remodel back in that unit in 2012.
Yes, and I think what the current panels that are up there were put up during COVID. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have the need of more space with having, bringing on a case aid too. We're actually, with the offices, we're one short for a worker, and then adding a case aid also, and we would want that case aid in our unit, ideally, not in an office somewhere else, just because of the tax requirements, so.
So Stephen did go out and get 2 bids as required.
Yep, and that should be in your packet that you received.
Can I ask
We went with the state contract.
Go ahead.
Since COVID, we had a lot of workers working at home and so forth. Don't see that any longer? Is more of them coming into work, or are you still seeing a lot of your workers at home?
Right now, we require all staff to be in the office 1 day a week. So on like Tuesdays, we will have all of our staff in, regardless of what their telework arrangement is.
Okay.
So we do have teleworkers, but with so many new staff and
different days off.
Yep.
So, or not, I shouldn't say days off, different days working remotely.
Remotely.
Yeah, so some might be
They'll
working
rotate.
Monday, Wednesday, others might be working Monday, Thursday, so there's plenty of people that are still in the office 5 days a week. Everybody is in the office on Tuesday for
Okay.
Stephen's unit.
Thank you.
yeah, so we did go with the state contract bid, so we didn't get multiple bids on this. originally, when we had brought this to facilities, we had went with innovative. And I think there was a misunderstanding at that point, and he had given us a quote on a line that was not in the state contract. So this came back almost very close, within
Did you get a copy of that, Denise?
several.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it was within 3,000. I think it was, this is $3,000 more, which he had let us know that it would be, but this is a line that is in the state contract. So that's what we'd be going with.
So as it exceeds the $5,000 threshold, we wanted to be sure to bring that forward to work session to have some discussion around that and then, you know, hear from you and how you would like us to proceed.
Commissioners?
So you'll be adding 12 cubicles at 80,000.
Well, we have 8 currently, so it's replacing the 8 and adding 4.
An
more.
additional 4. So we already have 8, we'll be adding an additional 4. Yes, so the spacing, I think, like I said, they're smaller.
Right.
But they're, you know, our old cubicles are cubicles that were meant for paper, and there's just a lot more room. So we can really optimize the space that we have by adding 4 additional spots.
Okay, because the board, I think, went to that open concept about 12 years ago. And I think after looking at a lot of that open concept sometimes doesn't work. And you gotta have privacy, so.
And we're really trying to honor that, so they're still open from the top down with cubicles, but yeah, I agree with you, and we really try to still honor that open policy, but when you're on the phone 95% of the time with your clients, you don't really get the privacy, and there's a lot of sound that carries. So over the years, we've even added sound barrier panels on the walls because it would just bounce, and it was just really unproductive for a neighbor staff member if you're
right.
hearing each other's conversation.
Yep.
So
And the information that's being discussed is of a
highly confidential.
very highly confidential too, so workers shouldn't really be, they don't have a business need for listening, overhearing another client's
From EAP
information.
to
So.
SNAP to, yeah, it's.
Yeah, I understand the reasoning.
Yeah. It's expensive. I did see Mitch this morning, and I just really wanted to be sure that he was okay with it before we brought it up to work session. But he sat in facilities, and we've talked to him a numerous amount of times, and just really wanted to be sure he was okay. Because for them to be able to build something like this would be difficult, because it would be stud walls, but also timing.
How are your electronics and
Costs.
your phone lines? Because we hear this from different departments when they want to do remodeling, is they're running into problems with the systems for computers and so forth, the wiring.
Yes, I would anticipate that there's probably going to have to be some work with that.
Yes, and we've let Lisa Pertica be a part of this as well. She's
Okay.
seen that, so, and then I did ask Mitch, you know, he said he would work through it with needing electrical too, with, you know, electrician and possibly needing some stuff through that
And
as well.
funding, Jackie, where is it coming from?
It's coming from the dollars that were really kind of set forth for this unit. So it is, I don't want to say a grant, there are dollars that were given to each county. Stephen's got the amount, but.
It was it would have come from the federal side, but each state received a lump chunk of money to distribute. They kept a percentage, I can't even remember how
Yeah, I
much
think
it was.
25%, the state kept 25% of that lump sum that came from the federal government.
So how close are we to being able to cover this, or is it covered?
100%.
Oh, this is 100%.
100% covered, okay,
Yeah, what we received, Todd County received 150,000.
okay.
150, yeah, 156.35. So we are, at this point, we are at approximately 137. I don't believe the monitors have been taken off there, but that's negligible. This would be 100%
Yep.
covered.
Including the wiring for whether it be electrical or IT
And that would be an improvement for that space also, because right now it's not, it's pretty hodgepodge. There's not set up for correctly.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, if I
Yes.
may, Madam Chair. So does this include the removal and disposal of the old units?
Well, I don't know that we're gonna need to remove it, and that's where Mitch is gonna come in and help. Those
Okay.
guys set them up, they could take them down. But we're hoping we can reallocate them somewhere because they're still
Okay, yeah,
good.
Right, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna get to. Are we gonna find a home for them?
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
another
it's a
department can
larger,
utilize them?
yeah, it's a
30
larger
people coming
space,
down
so
and,
Right,
for smaller spaces, they would be matching, more likely to match, yeah.
and that's something that we do in our unit is we have desks that are failing. And like I said, they're big, old desks. People don't even fit under them anymore because people were smaller 40 years ago when we got them and they don't match and they are literally falling apart. We try to get those when we need them, and I think some of these will help replace them. The ones that are down there now replace some of those
okay.
other ones that need to retire.
I personally would like to come see the space.
I would,
Now.
Great.
Not today, but as it is
Yeah.
today.
I would
Yep,
too.
that'd be wonderful.
Anytime, we'd be
let us know.
absolutely happy to show it to you.
Perfect.
Okay. What's the wishes of the boards? You want to put it on the next meeting? You want to hold off till July meeting, or,
I'd like to see the space before I could put it on agenda, to be honest with you.
okay?
Are there a time frame on the money that's gotta be a certain day?
No, there actually isn't on this.
No, but
It's
the
unusual.
state has shared with the directors that they, if it was such an urgent need, why haven't counties spent it? And and one of the things that is some people have given these back to staff as a pay increase. That was something that we knew that wasn't gonna happen, we couldn't do here, but, as they're just wondering why counties haven't been spending it. Some are hiring staff with it. But again, that would be sustainability, long-term costs that would come that would not be a part of this. So it's just not easily spent overnight is what we shared with them. So we want to be sure that there is no end date to it, but we want to be sure that we start being planful with the dollars as they are pushing counties to, so.
I don't believe that DHS was aware, hiring Lisa Chapin back as a temporary worker. She was experienced. There was no training involved.
Right.
To bring on a new staff, again, like we would have not had funding for a future year also, we wouldn't have even had them trained by now.
Yeah. Is Lisa still,
She's got like 4 days
I think,
left?
yeah, 3 days after today.
okay, well, good.
Yeah,
It's
she's
been great.
been a godsend, honestly. Timing couldn't have been more perfect for us to be able to utilize her, but
I mean, I don't anticipate me being a big roadblock, I just want to see the space.
Yeah.
Commissioner Byers, you get a hold of us and we'll definitely, or anybody else who would like to, happy to walk you through.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they get the walkthrough, and then we'll go ahead and bring it into, for a meeting then.
Perfect.
All right,
Put it on the schedule.
thank you.
Denise, any concerns with auditing bids? Got, okay, perfect, okay, good. Just want to make sure we hit that as well for you. Okay, perfect. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Got one more.
Okay. Denise, do you want to scroll up okay. All right. So Nellie and I are here because in the past, Todd County has retained a labor attorney specializing in employment issues and labor negotiations. The current, or the lawyer that, the attorney that the county had worked with for the past 9 years, the retainer has expired with them. And Nellie and I are requesting approval to continue working with attorney Susan Hansen from this firm. Attorney Hansen is highly regarded as one of the top labor attorneys in Minnesota, and many of the counties work with her firm for their labor questions and union negotiations. Given that Nellie and I lack experience in labor negotiations, her involvement would provide consistency and familiarity in our negotiations. She's well-known, trusted by employees and our union teams. We're respectfully asking the board to consider re-engaging Susan Hansen to ensure that we have the necessary expertise and continuity in our labor relations and negotiations. As Nellie and I are so new to this process, we believe continuity would be really important to ensure a successful outcome. Making big changes now might not be the best decision, just again, because of the newness of both of us. We believe this would be a valuable investment. Successful negotiations are crucial because our employees are our greatest asset. We aim to ensure that the negotiation outcomes benefit everyone involved, including both our employees and the county as an employer. So Attorney Susan Hansen's firm is Madden, Galanter Hansen, and she has provided a retainer, as you can see up on the screen, if the board would determine that they want to continue working with her firm into labor negotiations.
And prior to using Susan Hansen, I believe we used Frank Madden, correct,
That's
Randy?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
From the same
From
firm.
the same firm, but he has since retired and Susan took over.
Commissioners?
Prior to that was another firm, Pemberton or.
I think we used Christy Hastings for a couple of years, correct?
That would have been before my time.
Yes, Christy Hastings was
Christy
prior to
Hastings.
Frank Madden.
Yeah.
So as a commissioner, I have dealt with Christy Hastings, Frank Madden, and Susan Hansen. Since we've went with their law firm, we have did multiple year contracts. So we've been trying to shoot for three-year contracts. I think 1 year we went with 1 year
During
COVID
COVID.
year.
over COVID. So
Yeah.
we shoot with, for multiple year contracts. So their expense as far as labor is just for the negotiations and it's helped.
And I will share that a lot of the conferences I have been at, Susan presents, she keeps up with what's happening with the legislature, all the law changes, all of that fun stuff that the state decides to dump on us.
Yep, and this law firm come recommended by another commissioner down in Steele County when we were at an AMC conference, so that's how we got hooked up with them, so.
As a new commissioner, I have, I guess, a couple talking points or questions. I'm curious, and it's just lack of any experience in this department, I'm curious, why don't counties go, or do counties go with their county attorney, or why don't we, or do we just have, are we going with Susan Hansen for the last 9 years, because this is what she is specific in, or, I'm just for open
Jackie and
conversation.
I have both, I've reached out to my HR group, Jackie has reached out to her coordinator / administrator group, and we haven't found a county that uses their county attorney. Everyone seeks outside counsel for labor negotiations.
I'm just, I guess my curiosity goes, why, or is it something that we can start, we could tag team it with an outside and our current county attorney and possibly try to save some costs down the road if we get everybody's together, or again, just discussion points. I'm trying to figure out.
I think Commissioner Denny, it is the specialization.
Okay.
The familiarity with the unions, because there's 6 different unions, and they do know the union, what do you call them? The
Reps.
Business agents.
Yeah.
Yes, them. The reason why some of the county attorneys don't get involved is possible conflict of interest, because they do have staff underneath them that are unions. So they just kind of stay away from it. And then, again, with the complexity of negotiations is a lot of it.
And not that you couldn't revisit again.
Well, I'm just trying to.
Totally.
I'm new to all this law stuff, so I'm trying to figure out. I guess I'll ask one more. John, do you have any comment on this as far as other counties going to outside counsel? Is that suggested, recommended, or, I mean, no comment at all is fine too. I don't, just personal opinion. Just want to get everybody's opinion on it just to feel where we're at.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Denny, I've been here 2 years, almost 2 years now, and early on, I wanted to take on everything to save every nickel I could for the county. And I think the auditor treasurer will confirm that last year, I don't think we spent $1 on outside labor and employment counsel. I don't think we spent $1.
Very little.
And that's something that I take pride in because I have a background. I mean, I was a labor rep before and during my first year of law school. I clerked at the EEOC between my first and second year of law school, and I had a private labor and employment practice when I was a solo practitioner. So this stuff I am comfortable with. It's why I went to law school in the first place. But as far as what other counties do, I don't know. But I do know this. When I was trying to, save every nickel I could for the county, I offered to take on the ditch work and soon found out that that was more than I wanted to take on. And it could very well be that the contract negotiations are so time intensive that it would be better if someone else at least took the lead on them. And I think that's just good business.
Okay.
But the fact that this proposed agreement says labor relations advice and personnel consultation with the county coordinator, human resources, and county board on an ongoing basis, and doesn't include the county attorney, that troubles me because not only do I care and do I want to save the county money because I'm already here, I'd like to be a part of it because I have something to offer. So,
And John, I think what Susan did was just took our old contract and updated it.
Well, let's update it a little bit further. I would like to have John involved. I mean, just as far as keeping everybody up to date on whatnot. He has our best interests, and that's the only way we learn, educate when everyone can be part of it together. I'm not saying John's taking the lead on it, but I mean the fact that we're getting everybody involved and he is we are his, or we are your, how do you word that?
counsel.
Clients.
We're our counsel. So
You are my clients.
yeah, and we're kind of a wild card, a 5 up here that needs some counsel from time to time, and so I would like to. That's my opinion. I would like to have John involved in this. I'm not saying it, but I mean I want Susan Hanson involved as well. I want the experience, but I also want to start getting this thing back on the right track and getting us all together on one page and working together. That's my opinion.
I think the 4 of you probably know, based on my discussion, is that for me, the employees are our biggest asset. Just wrote that down. That's exactly what was spoken there. Employees are our biggest asset. So obviously Susan Hopkins has been very successful, or her firm she represents.
Hanson.
We need to have her involved. I'm 100% with that. I'm also 100% that I'd like to see our county attorney involved in what capacity, whether, not saying it's a lead either, but he's in the know.
So I guess if you're looking for a recommendation, I would say I would recommend the Susan contract along with having John involved with the new language of that contract.
Okay. So let her know that, have her redraft it, and then we would bring it to
The next
the
board
next
meeting?
board meeting?
Yes, I would have her
What'd you say?
redraft it, make sure John gets a chance to read it before
Okay.
it's brought forth, to make sure there are no questions about it, that they're answered before it gets to the board.
Madam Chair, if I may
Yes.
add, just from past practice of being here, it's good to have the county attorney involved, but it's great that you're also having an outside counsel, because for many years, we'd sit in here for long, long hours, and I don't want to take away from John's profession down at the county attorney's office. And in past practice, when we did have county attorney, just to educate
Yep.
Commissioner Denny, the county attorney would have to leave. And then you guys are
Understandable.
sitting ducks on a pond going, I'm no legal counsel, and now you're battling a negotiation strategy. So it's great to have
Thank you.
both.
Yep, understand
But that's
that.
probably why, in past, the
Yep.
board did seek outside counsel because of that. I'm not, I think it's
No.
wonderful that you're involved, John. I'm just saying that that was the instances that happened in the past.
And that's 100% my expectation as a commissioner, that the team says, hey, I've got this going on, or I've got that going on, or you are really good at that, take care of it.
Yep.
I'm really good at this. Let me do the research for whatever the case may be. If we've got, a team that understands their roles, performs them in a wonderful, in a rightful way, it'll be a plus. So be realistic about it, not hopeful, okay? Be realistic with everybody.
Absolutely,
That's the key.
That's what it's about.
yeah. And then, we've had some discussion a little bit about, if it's just the chair and vice chair, or if we're gonna try to have the whole 5-member board sit in. And that's something that we can have a discussion with our attorneys as time goes on, so. So we'll be looking for a contract then.
Okay. Sure. Well, we'll have her redrafted and then we'll send it to John, have him review it, and then we
Great.
can bring it to the next meeting.
Okay, sounds very good.
We know they're getting, I've only talked to one of the business agents, and I know she asked me if the county was preparing for negotiations and if we had met or anything, and I said, being new, I wasn't sure what the process was. I said, I think we're waiting kind of for the different unions to approach us to let us know when to get started, and she said, okay, Jackie, we're gonna start, I'll start meeting with my group then.
Okay.
So
And that you've
I'm
only
assuming
met
it's
from
close, yeah.
One so far. You usually, what was it, July, August? August, September time? Yeah,
Okay,
okay, very good.
all right.
Anything else
Thank you.
coming in front of the work session?
Madam Chair, if I may, I know this isn't on the work session, but since we're talking negotiations, also so that the county staff knows, we did meet as a finance, and this all loops in together. So finance is getting pushed back a little bit this year due to negotiations, and also that the auditors haven't presented yet. In past practice, it's been the auditors here the first week of May, we get rolling on this in June. So it's gonna be looking like more finance is gonna lead into July. So we're
Okay.
backed out about a month already, and that's okay though, because we're dealing with these contracts and negotiations starting, so.
Okay. Do we know when we're going to have the auditor here, or has Doug said anything?
I have got to call into him as soon as we're done with this meeting. And
Okay.
I'm presuming it'll be the 18th.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anything else to be brought front? If not, we will be recessed.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's just pray it doesn't fucking storm that bad this afternoon.
For a drive.
Might be able to go bend, actually.
I got a